everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittney. This is the Brittney Reacts Show, and on this show we go over all things entertainment news, movie news. I have a bit of strike updates today, a lot of fun stuff to talk about. We are going to talk about the Taylor Swift Eras concert movie that has caused a lot of drama behind the scenes. So we have actually a pretty good show today. How is everyone doing? Sorry again. If you didn't get my message on the community page, I did actually have a short live stream on Friday. I had to do it on my phone because my computer completely crashed on me, and I just bought a new one. So, yeah, that's why there's no live stream from Friday up. I took it down after the live stream was over just because it wasn't my usual quality, so sorry about that. Hi Jojo Rod, hi Rachel, hi Lovely Me. Hi Amy Yumi, hi Joshua Munn, hi Ajaman, hi the Modern Designer, hi Black Star, hi Natanya, hi Stardust, hi everyone who's here. I really appreciate it. Like I said, we actually do have a lot of good stuff to talk about, like Barbie is now the highest grossing movie of 2023. That's great. We're going to look at the top 10 overall so far this year. It's pretty interesting, actually. I think there's a lot to talk about here. And then Taylor Swift's concert movie is selling extremely well, so, I mean, there's a lot to talk about here, because I think this is going to break a lot of records, and I mean, it's already performing like a Marvel movie, which is pretty impressive. And then, unfortunately, we do have some strike news that's not so great. Oh, well, firstly, before the strike news, I do want to mention that they're thinking of making a new Pirates movie. So we are going to talk about the Pirates movie as well. Liam Neeson has some shots fired over at Star Wars. He seems very grumpy with the direction Star Wars is going. That's funny to me. And Marvel has delayed a bunch of their Disney Plus shows. So they've rescheduled their whole Disney Plus schedule pretty much. So we're going to talk about that as well. And again, the strike news. It looks like the video game companies are also going to be going on strike, or at least the talent that works there. So that could be really, really huge for the video game industry, just like the strikes are huge for Hollywood. So, like I said, lots to discuss here. Yeah, Brianna, they're doing another Pirates movie. I'm sorry. We're going to get to it. But let's just get to the box office news first and foremost. And that is, of course, Barbie. As I mentioned, Barbie is now the highest grossing movie of 2023. Incredible. I know I did mention this in another live stream before, but apparently it was just really, really close to passing it, but it hadn't passed it yet. But now Barbie is the highest grossing movie of 2023, beating Mario, and it's doing incredibly well, so good for it. And it's got so many accolades to its name, it's kind of impressive. Listen to this. Barbie is not just the highest grossing movie of 2023, but it's the highest grossing movie directed by a woman. It's Margot Robbie's and Ryan Gosling's biggest movie. It's Warner Brothers' highest grossing movie ever, and it's the 15th highest grossing movie of all time. 15th! It's in the top 15 highest grossing movie of all time, so Barbie is a huge, huge hit. Very, very happy for it, though. I think it deserves it for sure. Brianna Desart says, we love Barbie. Yes, we do. Josh says Barbie deserves it. Yes, she does. I'm super happy for everyone involved. And Oppenheimer, too. I know I often say, like, yes, go Barbie, but Oppenheimer, too. I mean, it could make close to or even at $1 billion. This movie, Oppenheimer, could be $1 billion hit. That's insane, y'all. A science movie that's half in black and white. That just shows you, A, Christopher Nolan can pull seats, so this is like huge for Christopher Nolan's career. But also, that audiences still will watch something original. So this is huge news. This is like positive news just for like art and film in general. So good for Barbie, good for Oppenheimer. And Oppenheimer surpassed Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 at the worldwide box office. It is now the third highest grossing movie of 2023. Third! Did you guys ever see Oppenheimer making more than a Marvel movie? It's very, very likely that, I mean, unless the Marvels just surprises everyone, it is very, very likely that Oppenheimer will actually gross more than every Marvel movie that comes out this year. Oppenheimer. No one saw that coming. Absolutely no one. Glitchmation says, I wish Oppenheimer got that boost. I know, they might re-release it around Oscars to try to get it to the billion, so we'll see. Angel Barrera says they should have Christopher Nolan direct a Mattel movie and vice versa. Wouldn't that be funny? Have Christopher Nolan do, like, Barbie 2 and have Greta Gerwig do, like, some other Oppenheimer-like movie. Just, like, have them switch. That would be awful, but also really funny. Moving on. Oppenheimer also has passed Inception worldwide and is now Christopher Nolan's third highest grossing movie. So the only movies that Christopher Nolan has done that has done better than Oppenheimer are his two latter Batman films. That's it. Only Batman can beat Oppenheimer at this point. Pretty impressive. Just going over the whole top 10 here, or at least the top 9, I think there's a lot to unpack here. Because this is the first year since 2001 where there is not a superhero film in the top 3. Again, unless there's a big surprise with the Marvels, which I don't think anyone's expecting the Marvels to go top 3. It's looking very, very likely this is going to be the first time there's going to be the top 3 highest grossing movies of the year. None of them are going to be superhero movies, and none of them are going to be sequels. And this is the first time this has happened since 2001. That's honestly kind of sad. It's been that long since we've had like original hits this big. But still, I think it's pretty impressive, and I think it shows that audiences' taste, I think, have changed post-pandemic. And I think people are looking less for like the traditional franchise stuff, and I think people are looking more for, I think, just something with a vision, something with a pulse. Like, if you're going to get people to get off their couches and actually go to the theater to see something, it better be something people think is worth it. And, you know, the 10th movie in a long line of franchises where, you know, it's getting mixed reviews is no longer going to cut it, even if you recognize the IP. So I think, like I said, I think this list really represents a huge shift in audience's taste here. It is sad and impressive, Alex. Agreed. It's equal, both. Josh Loves Movie says, nice to see original movies thrive, even if they are based on popular brands. That's a good point, because even though, you know, Barbie and Super Mario Bros. Movie are technically original films, they are based on IP, and they are based on, like, children's games or toys. So, you know, baby steps, but I think it's a step in the right direction, especially with Oppenheimer. And I also, when you look at this list, take out, say, Fast X, and I think this list really represents that the movies that are really resonating with people and are getting, like, rave reviews across the board are the ones that are actually doing well. So it's looking like if your movie is actually good, you have a chance at doing well. If it's bad, it's probably going to flop. Because even Fast X, even though it's not at number 5, this is actually a really low result for a Fast and Furious movie. So I think if it had been better, it probably would have been higher on this list. So even though it's at number 5, it could have done better. And Elemental at number 9, that's also really impressive considering how everyone was calling it a flop when it debuted. So the fact that Elemental is at 9 with almost 500 million, that's also really impressive. Again, I like seeing a lot of original movies in this list here. Jaden's Toys says, did you see the video I made on you? You made a video on me? No, I did not. I hope it was positive. Star Film Studios says, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and I loved it. It's my favorite movie of the year so far. I really loved it too. Glitchmation says, the only highest grossing that is not from a well-known thing or person is Elemental. That's true, you're right. Again, there are a lot of original movies here, but even the original stuff is still based on something, you're right. The only, like, fully original concept here is Elemental, because even Oppenheimer is still based on a true story that if you're really into history or science, you might have already known about. Elemental is truly, like, an original concept, even though they still reuse a lot of tropes. That's very, very true. Benjamin Lee, yes, there is a Minecraft movie coming out next year. I actually think that has a really good chance of doing very, very well. Nagisa Furukawa says, Hollywood should be like anime because there are a lot of original anime coming out each year that became one of the biggest anime of the year. like show jump anime became huge, like One Piece. Oh, we're gonna talk about One Piece in a second. But yeah, I think anime is definitely having a huge rise in mainstream popularity here. And I think One Piece is definitely going to help with that. Speaking of One Piece, since we've already brought it up, actually that's going to be later, never mind. We will get to the One Piece thing, though. Any other comments you guys want to mention about Barbie or Oppenheimer on the box office or anything before we move on to the Taylor Swift story, which I actually think is, like, really fascinating because it kind of strangely enough, the Taylor Swift Eras concert thing is directly tied to the strikes and everything we've been talking about with the strikes. So it's a very interesting development there. Oh, the Modern Designer, thank you so much for a super chat. That is very kind of you. Christopher Nolan owes Margot Robbie serious cash. You know what? I'm gonna switch that. I think Margot Robbie. Wait a minute. Oh, no, you're right. I had it backwards in my head, but you phrased it right. You're right. I think that Oppenheimer, the reason it did as well as it did, is mainly because of the whole Barbenheimer thing. Yes, people would have liked it and probably so would have done well, but it would not have made $1 billion. No way in hell would this movie have made $1 billion. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. I wouldn't say he needs to give his money to Margot or anything, but I definitely think he should give at least partial credit to the whole Barbenheimer effect for sure. Alright, moving on. So you guys have heard, of course, that Taylor Swift is making an entire movie around her Eras concert. And it's got a lot of hype around it. This concert, or this whole tour really, has been massive. I'm not even a Taylor Swift fan, and I find this tour inescapable from all social media and just general pop culture discussion. So that's why I think a lot of people are really looking forward to the movie, because a lot of people couldn't get tickets to go see her live, and obviously the movie's going to be a lot cheaper. So this movie has so much hype behind it that it's already breaking records. What kind of records? Well, it's breaking Marvel records. That's how big this movie is. The Taylor Swift Eras Tour movie has earned a record-breaking $26 million in pre-sales at just AMC theaters. Not all theaters, just AMC. It has set a new record for single-day ticket sales, beating Spider-Man No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home. Again, this is just for one theater chain, but AMC is the biggest theater chain in North America, so this is substantial. And the pre-sales beat Spider-Man No Way Home. You guys know how much hype there was around that movie. I mean, they brought back freaking Andrew and Toby. Like, everyone was talking about that movie constantly, nonstop, until it was released. And Taylor announced this movie, and then, like, within 24 hours, they were able to beat their pre-sale tickets. I think that's actually pretty impressive, not gonna lie. Josh Loves Movie says Taylor Swift is right behind Avengers Endgame for pre-sales. Let that sink in. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Josh, because going to the next point, actually, if you take into account how much money in pre-sales it's made from all theaters, not just AMC, the total is actually $37 million, which is the second highest pre-sales of all time, behind only Avengers Endgame. Avengers Endgame, guys. Y'all know how much hype was around Avengers Endgame. Now, this movie is not going to open anywhere close to either Avengers Endgame or Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm not saying it is, especially since it's just a limited release and it's not even playing like all day. It's just playing in the nice theaters for like pretty much a couple of weekends and that's it. And it's only playing domestically. It's not playing worldwide. So there's no chance this thing is getting to like $1 billion or even $500 million or anything. But it is definitely going to be the highest grossing concert movie for sure. And by a good bit. Oh, Brianna didn't know this. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? Nick just says, this is the perfect time for a Taylor Swift movie with all the hype going on. Yeah, it was a smart decision to release this while the tour was still going, so like the popularity of the tour is still at a peak. You're right, this was a very smart time to release this. Angel Banana, thank you so much for the super chat, very kind of you. So you're saying Taylor should be in the MCU? Well, there was rumors that they wanted her to play a character called the Dazzler. I don't know who that is, but there are rumors that Marvel apparently wants Taylor Swift in the MCU. I don't know about that, to be honest with you. And this is actually a credit to Taylor, I don't think she needs the MCU. And then B, to be honest with you, I don't think she's a good actress. And I think even her fans will admit that she's not a good actress. So I just can't see her being like a huge role in the MCU, even if they do add her. And if they do add her as a big role, I think that would just be like stunt casting. Essentially stunt casting, because they know they'll get the Swifties excited about it, and that's how they'll revive the MCU, maybe with the Swiftie fan base or something. I mean, if they already brought Harry Styles into the MCU, I don't think it's like that far gone to think they might add Taylor Swift. I do remember the Lorax, but that was just a voice role. Gregory also agrees. Yeah, Taylor's not a very good actor, and you're also a Swiftie. See, I'm glad you can be objective. Maybe a cameo, I don't know. I could definitely see a cameo. Jordan Davis says, I don't think anyone wants to be related to the MCU right now. That's why I'm like, she's at the peak of her career right now, while the MCU is arguably at its lowest ever. I don't think it makes any sense for her to join the MCU right now. I think it would actually hurt her career. And I think that's, again, a credit to her, but also a damning assessment of where the Marvel Universe is at right now. And we're going to talk about Marvel in a second, because they have a lot of issues going on, and that's why they're shuffling things around. But, you know what's fascinating about this? This movie is going to do so well that it's actually pissing off the studios. And I'm going to explain why. So according to Deadline, the Eras movie tour is currently heading for around a $70 million opening weekend. And it could do better than that. I actually think that's a low ball. I think this movie could clear $100 million opening weekend. But even $70 million opening weekend would be pretty impressive. Especially since I believe the current record for the highest opening for a concert movie is the Hannah Montana concert movie from like 15 years ago. And that opened to like 30 million. So this, in just pre-sales alone, has already beaten the highest opening for a concert movie. Again, very, very impressive. But the studios are upset because they're not getting a cut of this money. A couple of you guys had asked me last week, how is Taylor getting away with doing this given the strikes that are going on right now? Well, the reason she can get away with this is because this movie is not being distributed through one of the major Hollywood studios. She is actually just working with the exhibitors, so she's just working with the theaters, cutting out the studios entirely, basically cutting out the middleman, and now the theaters are acting as the distributors, which is not something that they do. So that's why the studios are upset right now, because, well, firstly, I actually read this article, and it was actually very, very interesting. According to the article, Taylor Swift and her team actually tried to contact the studios first to try to get them to release her movie, but they kept lowballing her with the deals that they were giving her. So instead of deciding to work with the studios, they decided to just go straight to the theaters, which I think is really smart. And that's why they're upset with her, because she's probably going to make a ton of money, and the studios aren't going to see any of it. And the reason why I said this does relate to the strikes is because the whole reason that the studio execs feel so safe and confident just being really, really kind of, I don't want to say evil, but they have definitely been disparaging towards the working class, is because they think that they're indispensable. They think that everyone in the industry, all the creatives, need the main studios, or else they can't do anything. So they feel like, oh, well, we have all the power anyway, you can't, or at least they thought, you can't release your movie without us anyway, so whatever. That's why the studio executives have been so confident and cocky, because they thought that no one could do anything without them anyway. And so that's why this Taylor Swift thing is really blowing up in their faces, because it's showing, no, you don't. You don't actually need the studios. If the theaters are going to start distributing stuff without a studio, and just working with independent creators directly, then what do you need the major traditional studios for? And that's what people are bringing up right now, and that's why they're getting pissed at this whole situation. It's kind of underplaying their entire, like, what they've been saying this entire strike. Like, oh, you guys need us, you need us. And then Taylor goes around and she's like, you know what, actually, I don't need you. And I could totally see this really sparking a trend of other independent creators just going straight to the theaters and releasing their stuff. This could totally spark a trend of that, which the studios would hate. Angel Barrera, thank you so much for the super chat again. If you won't say it, I will. They've been evil. Yeah, they have been evil. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I really do. But when you say stuff like, we're just gonna wait till everyone goes hungry and loses their houses, and like, that's evil. I'm sorry. That's just plain evil. Jaden's Toy says Taylor doesn't care. Oh, Taylor doesn't deserve it. Oh, she doesn't deserve the hate? Well, they're just mad because, again, they could have been one of the distributors, but now they're not, and they're not getting any of the money. And because we mentioned this in the live stream where we talked about this last week, but they've already had to move a number of movies that were supposed to come out around this time. Like, they had to move the Exorcist movie up a week because they didn't want to compete with this film. I believe they also moved Killers of the Flower Moon up a couple of days just so it wasn't opening on the exact same day as this. So it basically caused a lot of the producers and executives in Hollywood to panic and scramble when this was announced. So that's why they're upset. The cover girl says, I just hope this helps theaters. They've suffered since COVID. That's why I think it's really smart that theaters are doing this. Thank you for bringing that up. Because with the strikes going on, and we've talked about this, they're already predicting, with how long the strikes have gone on so far, that there's going to be a pretty sizable chunk of time next year where there's just not a lot of stuff coming out because no one can make anything right now. And the longer the strike goes on, and it's looking like it's going to go on until next year, like I predicted, the more there's just going to be a really long stretch of time next year where there's just not a lot of stuff coming out. So that's why you're starting to see theaters experiment with releasing other things that aren't just studio-made movies. They're doing things like releasing concert films with Taylor Swift. They're doing things like working on patents to have gamers come and play games on the big screen together. I saw an article the other day that was like theaters are working to work with independent creators to distribute their stuff. Again, like what Taylor is doing. So I think they're definitely doing this to survive. But I think the studios are not going to be happy about it because, again, they're not going to get any of that money. And if theaters start behaving like distributors, then the studios are going to have to start scheduling their releases around what the theaters want to release, and they don't want that either. So I can see why they're all upset, but at the same time, I do think that this problem they've made themselves, to be honest. Grace Likes to Draw says, Taylor Swift would be smart enough to do these because she had experience with this with her old radio label. Well, according to the article, it was actually her father that initiated this deal with AMC. Now, something I found out recently about Taylor is that her parents are like big into investment or just like finance. So they really know how to manage her money, basically. So it was all her parents or her dad that did this. So that's very interesting, actually. I did not know that. The Blue Gecko Nerd says, break up with your girlfriend because you're bored. That's entirely different artist. That is not a Taylor song. That is an Ariana Grande song. Brianna says her dad's super rich, so I'm not surprised. Oh, her whole family's super rich. But this is a very fascinating story. I thought I'd just update you guys on what's going on with this film. I'm very curious to see how it opens. Again, I think this could open to over 100 million, but we'll see. I don't think it's going to get to, like, Barbie's opening, like I've seen some people say, but I think it still will do very, very well. But moving on to the next topic, now we're getting to entertainment news. And we will be getting to the Disney stuff in a minute, but I did want to bring up something else real quick. Now, this is just a bit of fun little trivia news before we get into like the actual news stories, but apparently there is a woman actually named Barbie Oppenheimer. and that her husband's father is third cousins to Jay Roberts, so they wanted to see how they treat his story. That I cannot imagine during the season of Barbenheimer actually being named Barbie Oppenheimer. I can only imagine the looks and stares she must have gotten. I just think this is really funny. She also said that she was having like a hard time being taken seriously, just like putting her name down for stuff, which I can see. Oh, the poll. That's a good idea. I didn't think about the poll thing. Did you guys want a poll for Taylor? I'm sorry, I just missed that. You know what? Let's go back. You're right, we should do a poll for Taylor. Since it is a big story. Alright. Poll real quick. Okay. Who is seeing the Taylor Eras concert? Thank you for bringing it up. I'm gonna say me. And then never. And then maybe a third option for maybe. Or maybe, and then a fourth option for streaming. Okay. Didn't I ask this? Alright. Putting the poll up now. I'm glad you guys like the polls. Yeah, you do love pressing buttons, Brianna. Oh, Jaden says I hate Taylor. Honestly, for the longest time I did too. Now I'm just kind of like, I guess, sort of indifferent about her. I could acknowledge that her accomplishments are impressive, although I'm just not into her music. Kisaki is also not a Swiftie. Jake Calcolo is also going to stream it. I think I'm probably going to stream it, to be honest. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll wait till it's on streaming. I'll watch it, why not? But I'm not going to go to a theater full of screaming Swifties singing songs I don't know. I'm sorry. I just can't see myself doing that. Alright, going to the poll. 44% of you are saying never. Okay, so that's actually, even though that's pretty high, that's not as high as I would have thought, so that's pretty good. 21% of you are saying maybe, so you're on the fence about it, so you might go see it. 18% of you are definitely seeing it, you're saying me. And 15% are like me, you're just going to wait for streaming. So that's actually pretty substantial. That's like, yeah, that's like 55% of people are definitely going to see it or thinking about seeing it. So for my audience, and I don't consider my audience to be like the Swiftie audience, I think that means that this movie is probably going to do very well. But I'm glad you guys brought up the poll so we could do this. This was fun. Alright, ending the poll now. Josh Loves Movies says, oh no, where'd your name go? Okay, I'm going to watch it as I love her eras. Oh, I'm glad that you're a Swiftie, Josh. I didn't know that. Dee Dee says, I can't stand the sound of her voice, so no thank you. Yeah, that was me for a while. Danny says, what streaming will it be on? Hopefully not Netflix. It'll probably be on Disney Plus when it eventually goes on streaming, just because Taylor's been doing a lot of like behind the scenes music stuff with Disney Plus, so I imagine that might be where it goes. So we'll see. Oh, Feather is an anti-Swiftie. I like how there's like 50% of you are anti-Taylor, the other are like Taylor fans or Taylor curious. I think that's probably a good... Honestly, it's probably representative of the general public, because not everyone loves her, but the people that do love her really love her. Alright, moving on. Oh, Grace Likes to Draw loves her. Okay, that's cool. But Nate thinks she's overrated. Yeah, it's pretty much split down the middle, which is, again, I think probably indicative of the general public, too. But going back to the entertainment section. Hold on. No. Where'd he go? Okay. So, again, this isn't really even news. I just thought it was kind of funny to bring up the whole, like, can you imagine actually being called Barbie Oppenheimer? But yeah, it's pretty funny. Moving on from this, though, to the actual first news story. And it's about One Piece. Again, I told you guys that I was going to watch the first episode. I haven't watched it yet. Unfortunately, I haven't watched it yet. I was going to watch it this morning, but then I tore my leg and I had to spend the morning in the urgent care. So that didn't happen. In fact, I'm wearing a brace right now as I sit. So sorry I didn't get to watching the first episode. I'll watch it tonight, and I'll give you my review tomorrow. I've heard nothing but good things, though. It's debuted with an 83% critic score and a 94% audience score, and I've been seeing nothing but good reviews on Twitter. And Twitter is like the meanest critic on everything, so if this is actually getting good reviews, maybe it's good. So I'm actually starting to get a little excited to actually watch it. I haven't watched the new Godzilla trailer, sorry. Oh, thank you for the well wishes. I am fine. It's alright. It was just very, very weird. But I'm okay. Thank you for the concern. The Free Rocket Man says, watch the first two. The second one is better than the first. Okay. You know what? I've heard that One Piece has like a ton of episodes. Is that true? Is this the kind of show that's going to take me like half a year to finish? Because if I get into this and I want to go back and watch the old episodes, how long is that going to take me? You know what? This probably should do another poll. Who is interested in One Piece? Who's going to watch it? Alright, starting a new poll. One Piece. Yes, already watched it. And then, no, not interested. And then, started, might finish, will finish. And then the fourth is, what is this? Alright, adding this to the poll now. Laura B says, half a year is not enough. What? What do you mean half a year is not enough? I thought I was being dramatic. You mean I was still underselling it? Oh, man. Natanya says, I think One Piece is overrated. Okay. I've heard a lot of good things. We'll see. Brianna Desart says, the actual One Piece anime is incredibly long. Over 1,000 episodes. And it's not done. So are there people who have really, like, binge watched all 1,000 episodes? Is that a thing? Danny says, half a year is not enough. So this is like a year-long commitment then. At least. You know what? I would have to really, really love this show to commit that much. I don't know about that. I don't know. Star Film Studio says, not me, I love Avatar The Last Airbender. That's my thing. I love that show. When the anime... Actually, I think in February, the Netflix Avatar The Last Airbender show is supposed to come out. Can't wait for that. I'm going to cover the heck out of that. Okay, a couple of you might give it a try. Going to the poll now. 43% of you are not interested. Totally fair, I wasn't interested just like a few days ago, so I was in that camp. 28% of you have started it, but haven't finished yet. 16% are like, don't even know what this is. Fair enough. But 14%, which is actually pretty substantial, has already seen it. And to the people who have seen it, did you like it? I'm curious. Please tell me, be honest. Did you like it? Alright, ending the poll. Okay, Flying It Pit says it's not for me. Yeah, I'm only gonna try the first episode. I'm not committing to the whole thing yet. I'm just gonna at least try it. Daddy says, yes, I know people who have been watching and are all caught up, but I don't know anyone who has ever binged up and caught up. So it's not a thing that you have to watch, like, all 1,000 episodes to understand the show? Is that, or is it, like, literally you have to know, like, the entire canon of all 1,000 episodes? I'm so curious. That just seems like so much to me. Ryaru says, I don't think I will finish the anime. I started it, but 1,000 episodes discouraged me. Exactly. That's kind of where I'm at. But anyway, I just had to bring this up because I know a lot of people are watching it saying it's good, and I'm going to try it out. I'm going to give you my thoughts tomorrow after I watch it tonight. So, very, very curious to see how I feel about this movie, or the show. Moving on. Now we're going to talk about the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie, or alleged movie that might come out. So this isn't like a greenlit thing, it's not definitely happening, but it has been pitched. So Craig Mazin and Ted Elliott wrote a script for a new Pirates of the Caribbean movie. They said, we pitched it and thought there's no way they're buying it, it's too weird, and they did. And then he wrote a fantastic script, and the strike happened and everyone's waiting around. So it sounds like Disney is really wanting to revisit the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. This isn't even the first time we've heard rumors of them wanting to go back to this. I did hear rumors like a little while ago that they wanted Margot Robbie to star in a new Pirates of the Caribbean movie, which I actually think could be really good. Or that Karen Gillan could also star in a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and I love both of those actresses, so if we could get both of them in a movie together, I would be there day one, just because I really like these actresses. But I think, talking about the elephant in the room, I think this movie is going to be bogged down in so much controversy, because there's no way in hell they're bringing back Johnny Depp. And all of this, if they actually go through with this movie, all people are gonna do is talk about Johnny Depp, even though he's not in it. It's just gonna be about Johnny Depp. And I hate that drama will overshadow the movie, but it will 100% overshadow it. So for that reason, I just don't know if it's worth the headache, the PR nightmare for Disney, given all their other problems going on right now, to do this. I don't know. What do you guys think? Jay Calico says, I'm going to skip the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie. I never cared for the Pirates movies. I actually really like the first two. I think the first two Pirates movies, yes, I like the second one just as much as the first one. I think the first two are actually really, really good. The third one was crap, and then they all just got worse from there. But the first two, I think, were really solid. Nana says, just let it go. No more Pirates movies. Yeah. Sorry, they're never going to let this go. It was too successful at one point to stop. Michael says, I started watching One Piece back in 2010. My advice is to take your time with the series, watch the show at a steady pace. To be honest, it's too long, but the series has so much heart. I'll give it a try. We'll see. Allegedly, she might be pregnant. Who? Margot or Karen? Which one? Kasaki says Johnny Depp should get his role back. Well, I don't think Johnny Depp wants to come back. He even said, as he was testifying, so he was saying this literally as he was on oath. So if he lied about this technically would have been illegal. He said he was not interested in going back to the Pirates franchise. In fact, he said even if Disney gave him $300 million, he would still not go back to the Pirates franchise. So I do not expect Johnny Depp will be in this movie whatsoever. But even his absence, I think, will overshadow the movie, which is why I'm like, I don't know if this is really worth it for Disney. Walter Tomaszewski says, you think Taylor-esque rescued AMC and Cinemark out of bankruptcy, or is this a temporary financial respite for them? I think it's temporary. I think it will do very well, but they just have so much dead space that there's not a lot of big movies coming out for the rest of the year, and also next year, especially because of the strikes, that I think this might help tie them over a little bit longer, but I don't know if this is gonna save them for good. But thank you for the super chat though. I really appreciate it. Vilma says, I only saw one Pirates of the Caribbean movie. The one I saw I liked. I can't remember the name though. Honestly, I think that, like I said, the first two are really, really good. Denisha Clower says, I don't think anyone can outperform Johnny Depp's performance on Pirates of the Caribbean. It would be hard. I mean, he got an Oscar nom for the first movie for a reason. And that's not a typical role that gets an Oscar nom, so that just shows you how good he was in the role. But you're right. I think that his absence, I think this movie won't be able to overcome it, and I think it'll flop because of it. So I think it's just not worth the PR disaster for them. Should I do a poll for this? It sounds like you guys want another poll for this one, because this could go either way here. Alright, doing the poll now. Do you want another Pirates film? Let's see. I'm going to say yes. Totally down for it. I'm going to say no, not interested. And then third option says only with Depp. I think that's it. Just those three options. Alright. Doing the poll now. Flying if Pit says sad that there's no Johnny Depp. He wouldn't even want to come back even if Disney wanted him. I think they had such a toxic relationship on the last Pirates movie, because I don't know if you guys knew this, but on Pirates 4, I believe it was, there was nothing but like nonstop reports about how Disney and Johnny Depp were like fighting behind the scenes, and how Disney was so over Johnny Depp because he was showing up to the set really drunk and on drugs and not really like being professional. So I think there's so much, well, going back to the Taylor thing, there's so much bad blood there. I just can't see it happening. Vilma says if the trailer is good, I might see it. Okay. Laura says, I prefer to rewatch the first one instead of the new one. I mean, you're right. You always have the first one to watch. Going to the poll, so far, a good % of you are not interested. I think this franchise should have ended with 3, to be honest. Again, a lot of the sequels have not been good. So I have to agree with this. 24% of you are saying you do want it, but only if Depp is there. So that's actually, like, that's almost a quarter of you think yes, but the requirement is that Depp has to be there. Okay. 21% of you are saying yes, but I'm guessing that means you don't want Depp there. Interesting. That's actually very, very split. Again, I kind of don't envy Disney with this, because I don't think the public is really unified on the Johnny Depp situation. I think Johnny still has a lot of supporters, and obviously he has a lot of haters. I just think that with all the controversy that Disney is already going through, I just don't think they need to add another one, especially for this, the last couple of Pirates films, even with Johnny Depp in them, didn't do very well. So I just don't know why they'd keep returning to this. I would only say yes to doing another Pirates film, if it's with Margot Robbie or Karen Gillan, just because I like those actresses. Alright, ending the poll. Alright. I'm glad you guys like the polls a lot. The Blue Gecko Nerd says, I would be happy if they release Bureau of Otherworldly Operations. What is that? I've never heard of that. Alright, anyways, moving on. We had a long discussion on that. That's good. We had a lot to say there. Okay, moving on. I already said that. Some bad news. Arcane Season 2 reportedly won't even release until the end of next year. So, Q4 2024. This show, I love it so much. It is so good, and obviously I want them to make it as good as they need it to be, so take as long as they need, but it still really, really sucks that it's not coming out until, like, still over a year from now. And it's possible that it could get delayed because of the strike stuff. So, we're not getting Season 2 of Arcane for a while. Who watches this show? If you haven't seen this show, please do yourself a favor and go watch this show. I'm telling you, it might be one of the best shows on Netflix, and I'm not even being dramatic. It is that good. Yeah. I'm sorry you guys are disappointed about this. I know. I've never seen Arcane, Natanya. Y'all, Fod Fareed. No. Okay, to the people who haven't seen Arcane, I need you guys to do something. Just go on Netflix and watch the first episode, and you'll be hooked. And just know that the first episode is probably one of the weakest. It just gets better from there. It's really, really good. Trust me, just try it. Who's upset about this? Seems like a lot of you guys haven't seen it. Didn't know this existed. What? Oh no. Okay. Well, I'm glad I brought this up anyway, because if you haven't seen it, well, now you at least know about it. And I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. Please go watch it. It's free on Netflix. It's just good. But yeah, I'm disappointed about this. I really want it now, but again, of course, they have to take their time, so it is what it is. I'm just sad. Moving on. So Liam Neeson has some hot takes about Star Wars. He has been having a lot of hot takes about Star Wars. This isn't even like the first hot take he's had. But he seems to be very, very unhappy with the direction that Star Wars is going lately, and you can't really, blame him. I mean, I know Ahsoka is kind of doing well. And I say kind of because, the viewership is apparently okay-ish, but, no, I don't really feel like anyone outside, the core fandom is talking about it. I don't know. But he said that the Star Wars fandom is a cult, and that Disney is diluting the brand. There are so many movies and spin-offs now. I mean, he's not wrong about either statement, to be honest. Yeah, but Disney is definitely diluting the brand. For sure. I think all of those mid-tier, even just trash-tier Disney Plus shows are just hurting both Star Wars and Marvel. But I think it's nice that Liam Neeson, who is an actor that's actually a part of this franchise, is willing to speak up and be like, Disney, you're killing this brand. What are you doing? Because more people should be doing this, to be honest. I mean, it's also Liam Neeson, true. Liam Neeson don't give no Fs, so he just says what he says. Fod Freed says Star Wars used to be a cult. It's not anymore because its reputation's never been worse. Oh my gosh. All these Taylor Swift lyrics. I can't. But thank you. But yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, the Star Wars fandom is known, quite famous actually, for its, shall I say, passion. But though I'd say I think that passion is declining though because of the dilution of the brand. So I don't think they're as passionate and cultish as they used to be. Okay, MW says Andor is amazing. I will die on this hill. I know a lot of people. Well, I know some people like Andor. It's just not a lot of people watched it. But I just thought this was really interesting. I'm glad we're seeing more like actors being able to be like, you know what? What you're doing is trash. Maybe you should stop. Because honestly, I think the studios just need to hear a lot of just harsh reality and cold words right now because I don't know what's going through their heads. Seriously. Like, what is going on? Kisaki says the fandom is very toxic, especially the shipping part. I mean, there's a toxic part of every fan base, to be fair. It's not just a Star Wars thing. I mean, you can find toxic fans in the Swifties, community, considering the whole Taylor thing. But I just think that the Star Wars fandom in particular is very much known for being aggressive, especially online. Hence the cult name, which again I think is kind of accurate. But anyway, moving on. So Marvel is going through a lot of trials and tribulations at the moment. I feel like they have never been lower as a brand. They've never been perceived lower as a company. Their movies and their TV shows are just not, the reputation that they used to have is just not there for quality. And so they're kind of starting to resort to some weird marketing shticks. So the new Agatha spin-off show, which is spin-off of WandaVision, as you guys know, this is one of the few Disney Plus shows that I'm actually looking forward to just because I liked WandaVision so much. Even though I know a lot of people aren't interested in Agatha, I actually am. But they keep changing the name. When they first announced this, it was Agatha House of Harkness. And then it was Agatha Coven of Chaos. And now they've just changed it again. It's called Agatha Darkhold Diaries, which I think Coven of Chaos is a much better name. But I've also been seeing a lot of rumors from scoopers saying that Marvel is intentionally changing up the name to keep people talking about the show. And I just think that is such a admittedly clever marketing tactic, but also the fact that they're reducing themselves to these sort of guerrilla warfare marketing tactics just again shows you where they are as a brand. They're not at the top, they're not at the top of the pack like they used to be. They never had to resort to doing weird marketing tactics like this. All they needed was a good trailer and people got excited. And now it's let's just keep changing the name of the show so people will keep talking about it. I mean, I guess it's working because I'm talking about it now, but I mean, I don't even like the name Darkhold Diaries, I'm not gonna lie. Arvin says, I'm still excited for the witchy stuff. Oh yeah, I'm still excited for the show, to be honest. I don't know why. Agatha, out of all the Marvel Disney Plus shows, is truly the only one I'm interested in. That and Daredevil, but it is. Oh, Nick says that's a low-class move. Interesting. Okay. Fod Farid is just going on with the Taylor Swift references. I can tell you're a Swiftie. Denisha says, I actually like Agatha, but they're doing too much. It is a bit much. I just don't like the new name, to be honest. Oh, you want a poll? Okay, we'll do a poll. Poll time. So what do you want the poll to be? Who's interested in Agatha? Who's watching Agatha? Agatha all along. I'm gonna say, yeah, super interested. No, this is stupid. Third option, which is maybe need to see more marketing. And then the last option is who is Agatha? Because there's always going to be someone who's like, what are we talking about? Yeah, there we go. Jaden's Toy says, I'm a 9-year-old. What? I'm probably the youngest one watching this video. Yes, I hope you are. It's so late. Where are you? Hi. Go to school and do your homework and, don't cuss as much as I do. I don't know. I feel so weird that, like, little kids are watching, but I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Kana Bluey says, never heard of Agatha. Who is Agatha? Okay, not everyone has heard of Agatha. The only way you would know who Agatha is if you watched WandaVision, which is, again, starting to show how the multiverse narrative, the interwoven story across Marvel is really starting to be a weakness for them. Because if you haven't seen all of these shows, you're not going to know these new characters. So yeah, literally the only people who will watch Agatha are the people who have at least watched WandaVision. Like, that's your only audience there. You're not going to get really anyone outside of that, because no one else knows who Agatha is unless you watch that show. Yes, it's got Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza in it. I love Aubrey Plaza. I say Aubrey Plaza. Aubrey Plaza. Why was that hard to say? Alright, going to the poll. 37% of you agree with me. I'm so shocked. I'm shocked that 37% of you agree with me, because so many people are like, they just think Agatha's one of the shows that should be dropped off first. Like, they don't understand why that one's still around. And I'm like, when you have Echo there, why are you guys going after Agatha? Like, Echo is the one you guys should be going for. Alright, anyway. No, 24% of you are like, nah, not watching this. 24% of you are also like, maybe, I just need to see more marketing. And then 17% of you have no idea who Agatha is, so that's fair. Thank you to the 17% of you for sticking this long. Ending the poll now. Yes, WandaVision is the best Disney Plus show, Natanya. Very much true. I was so obsessed with it. WandaVision's the only Disney Plus show where I was actually there at midnight when those episodes dropped, because I had to watch them when they dropped. I didn't want to be spoiled, so I had to watch them right away. I haven't been like that with any other Disney Plus show since. Alright, moving on now. I'm glad you guys are excited for Agatha too. Alright, so Marvel/Disney is shifting around a lot of shows on Disney Plus right now. A lot of the shows that Disney Plus announced like years ago, again, going back to that very ill-fated and poorly aged 2020 Investors Day where they all announced like tons of projects for Disney Plus, Marvel is still working their way through all of those projects they announced on that one day like 3 years ago. Honestly, I think that was a mistake. Because now we know all these shows that are supposed to come out, but we're going to have to wait for them for years. Literal years, especially the longer these strikes run out. Because look at everything that's already been delayed. We got Agatha Coven of Chaos, which was supposed to come out in winter 2023, is now going to come out in fall 2024. So it's supposed to come out later this year, but we're going to have to wait like a year and a half now. Or at least a year. X-Men 97 is going to release early in 2024. So at least there's that. I don't know if anyone's interested, but maybe. Echo has been delayed from November to January. This was supposed to come out this year, but they pushed it to next year. And they pushed Daredevil Born Again, they pushed Ironheart, and they pushed Wonder Man, which they didn't even like officially announce Wonder Man, so I guess this is sort of an unofficial announcement. But yeah, apparently all three of these shows are delayed indefinitely because they have no idea when the strikes will be over. So it's very, very possible we're not going to get shows like Daredevil or Ironheart until, like, maybe 2025, even 2026. And that just seems so far out. Especially when you think that, like, Ironheart, for example. Ironheart is actually a spin-off of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, because that's where she was introduced. By the time that Ironheart actually comes out, it will have been several years since Black Panther Wakanda Forever came out. She was a very small role in that film. How many people, like, not hardcore nerds like us, but how many people in the general public are really going to remember Ironheart after, like, 3-4 years before we get to her show? You know what I mean? But, like, during the first 3 phases of Marvel, you knew that at least within the next 2 years, you would probably see your favorite character again. Now it's gotten so convoluted, there's so many characters, you have no idea when you're going to see your favorite characters again. It could be, like, gaps of, like, 4 or 5 years. You have no idea. And I think that is a huge problem. Kisaki says, didn't people not like Ironheart in the comics? Possibly, I have no idea. I know nothing about the comics. If you want to know comics, there are plenty other YouTubers. Go watch, I don't know, Grace or something. Can't tell you anything about comics. Denisha says, I'm not a fan of Ironheart. She's not interesting. I thought she was okay in the movie. I don't think they really gave her, like... I don't think they gave her enough to do to, like, stand out in that movie. There was so much going on in that film. She was, like, maybe the 6th most interesting thing going on in that film. And I don't think that's a really good, like, way to introduce a new character if you want a lot of people to love them. Yeah, there's a lot of delaying. Nick just says people don't get surprised if they announce everything. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know when's the next time Marvel is going to do one of their big presentations where they announce like a whole new slate or anything. Because they still have so much stuff that they've already announced that's supposed to come out for like the next 2-3 years. They don't need to announce anything new, like, at all, for at least another 2-3 years, and they'd be fine. So, you know, they're just doing too much, is what I'm trying to say. Way too much. Mauricio Gasho says, A Haunting in Venice? No. Oh, you mean the... Oh, that's a different movie. That's not Marvel. Hidden Name says, the delaying is bad because it lasts longer. Yeah, it makes it... Every time these shows get delayed, it just takes longer to get to them. And now you're just like, but you told us about this show like years ago, and you keep delaying it. It's frustrating. Nick just says Marvel wrapped up their universe too much, and then they expanded it desperately, so now we're all confused. Yeah, they expanded way too much, way too quickly. And I actually want to get to my member question, because I asked my members, again, if you want to be a member, please click the join button at the bottom of the screen to support the channel. I asked my members, which of these Marvel shows are you even looking forward to? And do you think delaying all these shows is even a good thing, or do you think it will actually hurt the MCU? And I got a lot of, again, really, you guys have a really, like, insightful stuff you say here. I'm really impressed with the comments in these posts. Natanya, thank you for being here, says, the Marvel show I am excited about is Agatha, because I like WandaVision. Delaying these shows will only hurt them. Couldn't agree more. That's exactly what I just said. We always agree, Natanya. Me Motelier says, I didn't know there was going to be a new Daredevil series. I'm excited for that, but I think a delay can actually be very beneficial for Marvel. Let people rest from the hero fatigue and create more expectations towards the shows. Here's the thing. Agatha and a couple of the other shows were actually already supposed to have come out at least a lot sooner. A lot of these shows were already delayed once. Like Agatha, I'm pretty sure this is the second time, at least the second time it's been delayed. The first time they delayed a lot of these shows was because Marvel was trying to space out like a lot of their programming, so there wasn't a lot coming out at once. So they are trying to be conscientious of like putting too much at once. The problem is they just have too many characters to get to, so they still have too many projects regardless. But yeah, great point though. Malik Lockhart says, I want to see the Agatha show. I think Marvel should take the time to recover and get things right. I don't mind waiting as long as we get quality projects again. You know what? I agree with you, because one of the main complaints from like anything Marvel right now is that the CGI is just not good. If they could just give the visual effects artists more time to work on these movies, I think that would be definitely beneficial for everyone. The legendary movie critic, hi Josh, says, I'm not excited for Loki Season 2. Oh, you're most excited for Loki Season 2, Agatha Darkhold Diaries, X-Men 97, Spider-Man Freshman Year, and Daredevil Born Again. I love how excited you are still about this, even though we can get very, like, pessimistic and negative sometimes. You are always very positive, Josh. I appreciate that. I think delaying these shows will make them even better, since it gives visual effects and CGI artists more time to make these shows amazing. I'd rather have Marvel take their time than rush these projects. Again, exactly what I just said, took the words straight out of my mouth. I'd rather just wait if we're going to get a better product for waiting. 5 o'clock Shadow says, reacts or reactions. Okay, I don't know why he said that, but I'm just gonna... What? No. That's a rude comment, 5 o'clock Shadow. I'm gonna have to ban you, sorry. Where are you? Alright. Rhea Lynn says, I'm so superhero fatigued that I'm pretty much only looking forward to the eventual release of Beyond the Spider-Verse in 2027. Exactly. We're not even gonna get the next Beyond the Spider-Verse movie, which had like a crazy cliffhanger. We're not even gonna get the next one to that movie until 2027 possibly. I think all of this has just gotten nuts, to be honest. It's just too much going on, and now we're having to wait like exceptionally long periods of time between movies. And this wasn't the case like just 10 years ago. I think it's a real problem. But anyway, moving on. Brianne Solace says, I'm not a fan of any of these shows, but delaying will hurt the MCU since it will be streaming, and people will forget about them and move on to something else. On top of that, there's still the matter of the strike, and studios are too stubborn to come to an agreement. Yeah, I agree with your comment about the delays will hurt Marvel. I agree. I think it'll just make people lose more interest because they're just like, well, this stuff just keeps getting delayed. I'm not really like this stuff that we are getting. So you're right. I think the delays will honestly hurt them. Even though I keep saying I understand they need more time, I just think that they're delaying them too far out from each other. It's getting ridiculous the amount of time we're having to wait to like see characters we like again. Jordan Davis says, first, I want to say I may not be here because of the federal holiday. Secondly, I think Marvel should cancel the shows that are not connected to the main story, including the Agatha show, no! Even though that is my most anticipated show. And finally, I think it is a good thing that Marvel is delaying their recent shows if it means better quality. Well, I don't agree with canceling the Agatha show, but I understand what you're saying. I do think that ultimately Marvel needs to go back to just focusing on their main core characters. I think they're just focusing on way too many like B, C, D tier characters when not even their A tier characters are doing that well right now. So I honestly think they need to shrink like their entire roster and just focus on like a main core group of Avengers, like 6 main characters, just like they did with the first 2 phases. Angel Barrera, thank you so much for the super chat. Maybe the delays will fix superhero fatigue. I don't know. I think it could actually expedite it. I think there's a way it could actually expedite it. Because, again, we're just waiting too long for this stuff. But I get your point, though. I get your point. Thank you. Alright. Moving on to strike news. Now, I did mention, this is actually pretty big. I don't know how many of you guys play video games. But, apparently SAG, who is the union that represents the actors who are currently striking, plans to send a strike authorization vote for the video game industry after they failed to meet the needs of video game actors. So they're trying to protect voice actors basically from being exploited and also being, taken over by AI. Companies facing a possible strike include Activision, EA, Epic Games, Insomniac Games, Take-Two, and WB. So these are pretty big game studios, like huge game studios. These have huge ramifications like across the board. So not only will voice actors for movies and shows be on strike as they already are, but it's very likely that soon voice actors for video games could also go on strike. We've been talking about how visual effects artists are very possibly most likely going to go on strike. So it's starting to sound like literally everyone's going to be on strike very soon. And it just seems like Hollywood's problems keep getting worse and worse. Who plays video games? Is anyone surprised by this? Is anyone upset by this? I'm curious. Angel Barra says the video game industry is really bad too. I've heard not lots of horror stories about what goes on, so this is probably necessary, but it's still going to be huge, like massively impactful for the entire industry. Red Star says people think waiting for these products, thinking they're going to be groundbreaking when they end up lackluster. All we're doing is wasting our time with anticipating something that isn't good. Oh, you're talking about the delays, Red Star? Yeah, I agree with you. Hi, Natanya. We're talking about SAG possibly allowing voice actors for video games to strike. The Modern Designer, thank you so much for the super chat. We love you, Brittney, and your community. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Really, you guys are like the kindest community ever. I love growing this community and talking to you guys every day. I genuinely do. You guys like pick me up, really. Danny says, very surprised but not upset. Pay the people. Yeah, it's not surprising. Oh God, Fodfried. Speak now, who plays Fortnite in 2023. I love how you're just, this entire stream, you're very much committed to the Taylor Swift references. Honestly, it's cute. Keep them coming. Brotato Josh says, I don't really play games from these companies. Okay. Maybe it won't affect everyone, but I think, especially Epic Games, Fortnite, like, that's gonna definitely affect... Fortnite is still huge. I can't believe Fortnite's still relevant after all these years, but trust me, Fortnite is still massive. Oh, you think I'm the best movie news channel. Thank you so much. Alright. So, I don't know how many of you guys actually play video games. It doesn't seem like a whole lot of you have strong feelings about this, but I just think that it's definitely necessary, and I think it's a sign of things to come. And also a sign that these strikes, again, are not ending anytime soon. I keep thinking January is when these strikes might end, but honestly, I'm starting to think it's going to last longer than that. Just because they're adding more and more people to the strikes, they're adding visual effects workers, they're adding video game actors, like, it's just seeming like these strikes are not going to end anytime soon. Maybe even later than I thought. I thought January, but now I'm thinking maybe February or March. Like, it could go on that long. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, moving on now. So, Aaron Paul, you guys probably know Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad, right? It's a huge show. Huge hit on Netflix specifically, too. Like a huge ratings juggernaut for that streaming service. Well, apparently, Aaron Paul is getting paid nothing in residuals for Breaking Bad being on Netflix, despite it being hugely popular on Netflix. Do you guys know how popular Breaking Bad is on Netflix? Breaking Bad, when it was airing live, it was a decently popular show, but it was not the mega phenomenon that it became until the show was put on Netflix and people could go back and rewatch it. That's how big this show was for Netflix and is on Netflix. So for Aaron Paul to be coming out today and say, like, yeah, I don't even get paid for that show being on Netflix, just, again, it's the whole reason why everyone's striking anyway. I don't think that should even be allowed. That's crazy. How can your work not be paid? How can you not be paid for your work when it's being streamed and watched and consumed? That's crazy to me. This is really crazy. Everyone knows Breaking Bad. How many memes of Breaking Bad have you seen on the internet? There's a ton of them. Tons of them. And he's getting nothing. It's just, if the show this popular with known actors that people like is still getting fucked over or messed over, I shouldn't have cussed, sorry. But if a show this popular is still not getting people paid, just think about, like, other shows, other streaming originals that, like, no one's watching. And that just shows you how little actors in Hollywood are actually getting paid right now. Natanya, never seen Breaking Bad, never seen Arcane. Natanya, you've got some homework. It's good homework. You'll enjoy it, but you've got some homework. Brienne Solis says it doesn't sound legal, right? What other industry could get away with this? Seriously, what other industry? Jordan Davis says, I always wanted to watch it, but never did. Oh, you guys should watch Breaking Bad. That's a good show. Surprised a lot of you haven't seen it. It is very, very good. It's iconic for a reason, and you'll understand all the memes when you see them. Alright, but I had to point this out because he's not even the only one. Apparently the guys from Supernatural. You guys know Supernatural. That was also a massive hit show, also big on Netflix. The series is constantly in Netflix's top 10. But apparently they're also not really getting paid for it. I'm not doing great, says Eric. I'm not asking for any sympathy for that. I'm just pointing out the inequality. That is so sad. That a guy from a hit show like Supernatural, where it's still, even, that show came out in the 2000s, okay? And it's still so popular, it's still in the top 10 on Netflix, like, now? And he's not doing well, and he's, like, having to admit that? That is just sad. I really thought, I mean, I know not all actors were rich, but I didn't know that if you weren't rich, you were basically broke. Because the way these strikes are coming out, that's kind of how it sounds. Who watched Supernatural? I only saw a couple of episodes. I couldn't get into it. But I knew it was very, very popular when it was, like, in its prime. Brianna Does Art says, horrible Tumblr 2013 flashbacks. Yeah, I remember the whole superhero lock phase. Ugh, cringe. Michael says, I have to finish the last season of Better Call Saul. I haven't watched Better Call Saul yet. I know, a lot of people say it's just as good as Breaking Bad. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, the global residuals for shows like these should be huge, yet they're not getting paid, and all the studios are getting paid. So that's, again, why they're striking, because the studios are getting the money, but the actors and the creative talent aren't. And I think that's really backwards, because without the creative talent, the studios would have nothing to actually release. So it's all backwards to me. But moving on. Again, it is not the actors' fault for these strikes going on as long as it is. It is literally the studios will not even go to the table to talk with them. The response was a hard no. The AMPTP went even further and told us it would be quite some time before they would be ready to talk with us again. So the studios told SAG, again, the SAG, this SAG guy, he really has, like, the most Irish-sounding name I've ever heard. Duncan Crabtree Ireland. I mean, what a name. But he's I'm pretty sure he's, like, one of the big, top people over at SAG, and he's been, like, in all these negotiations with the studios, and the studios don't even want to talk to them. They said they don't even want to talk to them for a very long time. So, again, these strikes are not ending anytime soon. I think it's not going to be until early next year, possibly even spring. It's going to be that long. Jaden's Toy says, the only Supernatural episode I've seen was the web where they cross over with Scooby-Doo. I did not see that. Like I said, I never watched Supernatural, though I knew a lot of people did. But this was the last bit of strike news for the day. I do have one last WTF news, because I know you guys like WTF news, and I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. So I'm going to end this stream with some WTF news. And it's this. Look at this, y'all. As a dog mom, I'm triggered, okay? Delta Airlines offered a woman just $1,800 after they lost her dog at an airport. They lost her dog. They have no idea where this poor lady's dog is. And they just offered her $1,800 and a sorry. I'm sorry, but if this was me, I'd be raising hell. I'd be calling people. I'd be calling the media. I'd be putting Delta Airlines on blast. I'd be so heated. I'm so sorry. If this was me, you would definitely be hearing about me on the news. Okay? I would not be okay with this. Yeah, I'd be so pissed. Especially since for a lot of dog owners, like, that dog is more than just their pet. You know? Like, there's a lot of emotional ties to that. Like, your dog becomes part of your family. And to just be like, oh, here's $1,800, sorry. We're like, oh no. Nah, y'all would be hearing about me on the news. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Justice for the dog. I hope they find him. I really do. I just had to share this because I saw this headline and it got my blood boiling right away. I just could not. I could not. Could not be me. But anyway, that was the show for today. That actually went on for a long time. Longer than I expected. We had a lot to talk about today. This was really fun. Thank you everyone who came today. I enjoy doing these live streams as always. I'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Since the show ran over a long time, I'm just going to answer like 2 questions. I'm not going to do a long Q&A segment. But that'll be the end of the show for today. Again, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this was really fun. So I'll take 2 more questions. I know you guys are really upset about the dog. I'm sorry that I've got your blood pressure up, but it got mine up too. You're not alone. Oh, you like my live today. Thank you, ARLW. You like the stream. That's great. Jordan Davis, I was in urgent care for Memorial Day. That's what I did today. Fawad Fareed says, during the strikes you should review the movie Planet 51. It's a goofy movie. Maybe. Alright. I think that's everything. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It was fun chatting with you all. And I'll see you then. Bye.